What does it mean? Basically, you need to analyze and then you have to plan. What are you planning? What we should do? It involves careful formulation of strategies and goals. First, you have to formulate the strategies. Then you have to deliberate on the resources. Correct? Assess the internal and the external environment. And then it is also aimed at providing overall direction to the organization. Specifying organization's objectives, developing policies, plans designed to achieve this objective, and then you have to allocate the resources in order to implement the plan. So it is very clear really, because first of all you have a general direction to the organization. Then you say, okay, where I want to go. Based on that you create the policies. Based on the policy you create the plan. Correct? So that you can achieve the objective. Then you allocate the resources to implement the plans. So situation analysis has to be done before developing the strategy, right? So what is situation analysis? Basically what we are saying is, it is also called, first of all let me go through what they have said, it is also called environmental analysis, right? Basically you find out what is the exact scenario. It is an essential component of strategy formulation. What is the environment like? Focus is on 4 areas, right? Unless you do that, you can't keep your strategy up to date. Isn't it obvious? So there is a problem. The problem, its severity and its causes. The people, the potential stakeholders have to be looked at. What is the broad area within which this problem exists, and you have to facilitate behavioral change. So situation analysis will take into account internal as well as facilitate behavioral changes based on what is the situation. We have to change ourselves, isn't it? That is what we are talking about here. So situation analysis takes into account internal and external environment of an entity or organization, clearly identifies its own capabilities, customers, then potential customers, who are the competitors, what is the environment of the business, internal and external, and what is the impact that environment is going to have on the business and how the entity is going to affect the environment. So it will also help for SWOT analysis. Okay. So what is the need for situation analysis? Basically, it will that is the thing which will help to create a strategy, because it will identify what exactly you want to do. It gives a very clear picture of the opportunities, what are the resources, basically the SWOT, isn't it? So opportunities and threats, it will give you a clarity, and then accordingly you will create your own business plan. Alright. The quality of the situational analysis will ensure the quality or success of the whole plan. To whom is it suitable, this situation analysis? Or how you should go about conducting it? So basically, a small team has to focus. Okay. So how will you bring this small team together from different functional areas? It's not just one person will look at it. No. Then only you will get an overview of it. So, when different functional areas people come together, that's when you will get a proper analysis of the situation, right? And they will look at how to go about collecting data. And the team members will also consider which stakeholders they will deal with. Then the service providers, policy makers, the whole gamut of people, isn't it? How will you go about doing it? It will be done by conducting in-depth interviews, group discussion, different methods for different kinds of stakeholders, including stakeholders workshops. When will you conduct? At the beginning of any program or project. Before developing strategy, you need this in place. That is what they are saying. What are the elements of situation analysis? You have got product situation, competitive, distribution, environmental factors, opportunity and issue analysis. Okay, let me discuss each of this. I have not written much over there, but I will discuss with you each of them in detail. Product situation means it relates to what are the products that you are offering, the business is offering. Further, it will be divided into what is your main product and what is your other supporting products. The need of the customer is a key, for your finally deciding whether you are succeeding or failing, isn't it? The need of the customer has to be taken into account. Customer is a key. So everything has to meet his requirements, right? Then comes your competitive situation. This involves analysis of the competitive forces to identify the closest competitors. Obviously, you should know who's your competitor, no? Otherwise, how will you do any strategy? So, finding out your own core competency. Core competency is what is your strength, and the core competency of the competitors, and the areas in which they have a stronghold. What are their specialities? What is it that the customer wants? And why is the customer attracted to that competitor? All that you have to keep in mind when you're talking about competitive situation. Now you look at distribution situation. You know who your customers are. How fast is your product reaching them? How good is your service, right? And your logistics network means your service related and your product sale related. Whatever you need to reach to the customers in different places, how well it is connected and how fast it is and effective and efficient it is. Environment factors or environmental factors, external and internal environmental factors have to be taken into account. What does this include? Economic and sociological factors. Economic as in money related. Sociological is the general society related, right? All that will also impact the performance. Opportunity and issue analysis. Opportunity is what? In your SWOT, you have these opportunities and threats. No? That is what this is. There's nothing more to it than that. Now we come to effectiveness of situation analysis. So how do you decide whether a situation analysis is effective? Whether is currently adopted situational analysis simple and practical to use? Read the 4 points and tell me whether you follow. Any question? Okay. Now we come to SWOT and TOWS analysis. How familiar are you about this? That you can tell me first. Have you done it at any time before? No. Okay. SWOT is meaning what? Every manager is entrusted with what? Basically, they have to set up their own his or her organization mission and goals, right? They have to create a strategy so that the company can achieve their goals. So there are lots of tools, out of which the most often used is your SWOT and TOWS analysis. It's very simple. SWOT will tell you S is for strengths, W for weakness, O for opportunities and T for threats. So strengths and weaknesses, okay. Strengths and weaknesses is basically internal strengths and internal weakness. What happens within the organization? How good is our organization? how bad it is. All those details you analyze. Then comes your opportunities and threats. What are the things outside which is a problem? Okay. What are the opportunities outside which the company can really push for or get more of or use for the benefit of the company, and what are the threats? Threats as in what are the issues that can happen or challenges that can happen in the environment which is going to impact the company in some way. Okay. So we'll come to those in a minute. So what this says is there are two parts of the environment, isn't it? One on which the company has control, that is internal environment. And there is some part of the environment which is outside, for which the company does not have any control. That is your external environment. So SWOT analysis, when you talk about origin of SWOT, we'll first look, then we'll continue from where we have left off. Basically, the origin of SWOT analysis is supposed to be rooted in the concept of force field analysis. Are you clear here? Okay. So this is your expansion, and this was originally, it came out in the form of force field analysis. It was pronounced by K11 in 1950s, and force field analysis concept was too complex, and that's when they developed some simpler method. One of them was SWOT. So SWOT can be successfully employed in every organization. So all they will find out is what are their own strengths, what are their own weaknesses, what are the outside problems, and what are the things outside which they can use, which is opportunities. Yeah, and it can be used in any kind of organization. That was just a method which was created by him. Okay, based on which or referring to which they made a simpler version which was SWOT. So this is a much more complex method which was designed first. Okay. So you will say, okay, SWOT put the other way around is TOES. It's not so direct as that. So you'll see what this means. TOES was created through rearrangement of SWOT, yet it is not considered as just a reversal of sequences. Okay. While in SWOT, one is evaluating internal strengths and weaknesses and seeks how that can be best applied to the external environment, right? External environment is not something which we can control. So how can you use your strengths and weaknesses and exploit the opportunities and face the challenges that you are facing is one part. Now here, TOES is not like that. TOES is the exact opposite, because if you look at opportunities and strengths, opportunities and threats in the external environment, and then it generates and selects strategies based on internal strengths and weaknesses, so that the opportunities can be used. Are you understanding? So Michael Watkins of the Harvard Business Review says that focusing on threats and opportunities first helps to focus your productive discussions. That is what he says. Okay, lead to productive discussions. It will become more focused about what is going on outside. How should I use my strengths and weaknesses to reach where I want to reach? Though it is not just a reversal, but a tool for strategy evaluation and selection. SWOT analysis is a tool for audit and analysis, that you have something, and how do I use what I have to get what I want. But companies will use it. Okay. So SWOT you can use at the beginning of the planning process, and the TOES can come later as one decides how to go about ahead. So both will be used by companies only. So who can use? We'll see. Its SWOT and TOES matrix is not just meant for top level management, it's meant for every level of management, for every division, product, function, everything. It is also for individual employees at the operational level. Why SWOT and TOS? We'll see. It's very simple, very valuable technique. It's very easy to identify opportunities and threats from the external environment and analyze your internal strengths and weaknesses, correct? Such a review, how does it help? It helps in establishing the relationship between all the things. Further, use of TOS by examining threats and opportunities. First, you are examining what is happening in the world, and then you examine your strengths and weaknesses. Keeping that allows you to make a more focused analysis, is what they are saying. So you can make the strategy much more effective, keeping in mind the external environment. Are you clear to here? For TOS strategies, it's a product of trade-off between internal and external factors. There are 4 aspects, right? So there are, you can have some strengths, some weaknesses, and some threats. So 4 methods in which it can be traded off. If you are looking at strength and opportunity together, or weakness and opportunity together, right? You have a weakness, but there is an opportunity, so how do you work? You have a strength, but there is a threat, so how do you work? That's ST. Weakness and threat, so how do you work? So that way you can, it's called a trade-off. Got it? So strength and opportunity is utilized to exploit the opportunities. Strengths of the company should be utilized for exploiting the opportunities, correct? Weakness, you have to overcome, and then you have to exploit the opportunity. Are you getting clarity? Then, exploiting the strengths to overcome potential threats is another point which you have to remember. And weakness and threat strategies, one is attempting, what are you trying to attempt? Minimize your weakness, avoid possible threat. So different ways in which you can manage the situation. Are you clear? So what are your strategies and tools? So if you see your book, they've given a nice chart there. You have your book in front of you. Aggressive strategy, maxi-maxi. See what is written in that? Same thing. SO, which is your strengths to maximize opportunities. Maxi-mini strategies that use strengths to minimize the threats, and so on and so on. Are you clear? So each of this is called by a different name: aggressive, conservative, competitive, and defensive. So what is aggressive strategy? Aggressive strategy is defined by, I have no clue how it has to be pronounced, Christoph Obloj probably. So you can just read what is his definition. Have a look and tell me whether you follow. Done? Any question on that? Okay. What he's saying is, this aggressive strategy, what we call it as maxi-maxi, no? What we are saying is, you use your strengths to exploit all your opportunities to the maximum effect. So there's a synergy. Synergy means it works well together. That is what synergy means. Okay. So there is a strong side to the organization, and there is a beautiful opportunity. The two will work together and the strategy of strong expansion, and you will get diversified development. Strong expansion, why? Because your strength is also there and the opportunity is also there. Obviously, you will do well. You understand? And you can do well in terms of development also. Yeah. Therefore, maxi-maxi refers to an organization within which the synergy effect is present. Both work well together. Opportunities are dominating in the environment. Got it? Aggressive strategy embraces actions such as capturing opportunities, strengthening position in the market, taking over organizations, concentration of resources on competitive products, etc. So that will work with our own strength to exploit the opportunity. That's about all. Same thing. There is nothing new in this point. Conservative strategy. Now read this one. See whether you understand. Do you understand this? Now you will get it. The competitive strategy, we'll look at that one second. Read this part because that's where your main point is. Clear? Same thing, we are just broadening apart a little more. Okay? And your defensive strategy is when you have to survive in that situation, right? So when an organization works in an unfavorable environment, is deprived of strengths. So what will happen? It may lead to take maximum benefits from the company before its liquidation, or it may need to go with another organization. So gradually you're withdrawing, you're reducing cost, reducing productive ability, etc. Now I've said case study, TOWS matrix for Apple, and you have Nike, TOWS matrix, and you have Pepsi. You should read it based on whatever we have discussed now. If you have a difficulty, you should come back on it. Okay? You won't have any difficulty. It's just based on these three strategies, these four strategies. Maxi maxi, maxi mini, mini maxi, yeah, and mini mini. Do you have any difficulty in any of the first three chapters, Sindhu? Till now? Okay. I keep saying that if you have difficulty, you come back. You have never asked me, so I was not sure. Alright. Have you heard of this PERT and CPM? Okay. See, basically, when you take on a big project where there are lots of activities to be done, lots of tasks are there, correct? Different tasks are there. So let's say a simple thing I will tell you. You think of transporting. You have an order coming from Delhi. You are based in Bombay. Okay. And you have been told you have to reach this to me on so and so date. You first of all, the first task is to getting the product ready. Then you have to pack it. Then you have to transport it. Then you have to reach it to the customer. And the customer should be satisfied, and then you get the payment. Isn't it? There are lots of that. This is a small one. Like this, suppose you are setting up a giant oil rig somewhere. So imagine starting from getting the land to actually getting the rig to work. The whole project is a huge one, right? So When you are working on a large scale project, a lot of coordination is required between numerous activities in the organization. So, in each activity, there will be 150 details, no? So, how do you coordinate all of that, and how do you schedule it, and how do you monitor whether it is going as per schedule? It's a huge task. So, for such large scale projects, the managers have to rely on certain techniques called project management techniques for large scale projects. And how does it work? It's systematic way. Project management is a systematic way of what you are trying to do: plan, schedule, execute, check whether it is done, that's monitoring, and then make corrections, controlling aspects, and then come back again. Clear till here? Now, PERT and CPM, Program Evaluation Review Technique, and your critical path method are two methods used for project management. It's just two complementary. It's not like you can either use one or the other. Both can be used. It is actually better if you use both. These two are network based. Okay, network based scheduling methods that exhibit the flow and sequence of activities and events. That is what I told you. You have to do task 1, then task 2, then task 3, then task 4, then task 5. Then only you will reach the final, right? That is what we believe. But could it is possible that tasks 2 and 3 can be done simultaneously? How do you schedule that? Those things are also taken care of. So it's a network based. It is not linear. So it is possible that while you are doing 2, you are also doing 3, and then both meet together for doing 4. You understand? So when you have that kind of activity chart in front of you, this becomes very easy. It will help to plan and display the coordination between activities. So it was first developed by whom? United States Navy in the 1950s to support the US Navy's Polaris nuclear submarine project. And frequently PERT and CPM go together. It's conjunction. Okay. After discovery by Navy, it found its application all over industry, regular industry also. So DuPont's critical path method was invented roughly the same time as PERT. Today, PERT and CPM is used in a variety of places, including there's a big list given construction of a new plant, NASA space projects, right? Even movie productions, building a ship. Any project you take, you have activities to be done. You need to have a timeline. You should know which comes first, which comes second. Each activity you will be assigning a earliest and latest starting point, and you will also have activities where it is not dependent on any other activity, so it can happen independently. Yes, you should. That's when it can be scaled up, no? Okay. So, what is critical path method? Critical path method is a project modeling technique which was developed in the late 1950s by Morgan R. Walker of DuPont and James E. Kelly Jr. of Remington. Together they made it. CPM tells you what is the longest path of the planned jobs or activities to logical endpoints or the end of the project, and the earliest and latest time by which each activity can start and finish. What is the longest path means? You have series of tasks. What is the longest time it will take to reach, right? So it will tell you earliest and latest time by which each activity will start and finish. So in that you will have to figure out which are those activities which are critical. That means they are most critical for the project. If this doesn't happen, nothing else will happen. And there will be some activities which can be delayed where the project won't get affected. The length of the project won't get affected. So even if it is delayed slightly, it's fine. We'll see how that works. Okay. So it's an effective and powerful method for assessing all this. So how will you go about it? Read this set of points and tell me whether you follow. Any question? So it's obvious that in a complex project, this can make the difference between success and failure, right? It's very useful for assessing which are those problem areas which can happen during the implementation, right? So what are your steps? The camera is creating a problem. I don't know why. It just walked out. It said bye. So we'll manage without the camera. If it needs it fit, it will come back. Okay. Steps in PERT and CPM. Each project consists of numerous independent jobs and activities, right? So it's vital, what they are saying is it's vital to identify and distinguish the various activities required for completion of the project. First you have to identify now what all you have to do. And then you have to figure out what are the activities and then list them one after the other. After listing, what is the next thing? What is the first job? What is the second job? So order of precedence. Certain jobs will have to be done first, therefore jobs have to be completed before others should be determined. What can be done simultaneously? That also has to be specified. What has to be carried out simultaneously also has to be kept in mind. All some different interrelationship. Unless you do job B, you can't do job C. But while doing job B, you can do job D. That is what they are saying. So all these relationships between different jobs need to be clearly laid out. Then what happens next? Then a picture or graph is created of each of the jobs showing what is first and what has to follow after that and what is the predecessor and successor relationship. Do you understand that term? And time required for each job. So the 3 steps, if you take into account, you see that graph which is given in your example and the graph down below that. First, that A is going to take you 14 days to do. Okay. Then B and C goes on simultaneously. Right? Because they are independent of each other. So B will go on for 10 days. C will go on for 7 days and then D will have to be done for both. That will go on for 4 days. Okay. And then you come to again 10 days. You understand? So what is the longest duration? If you keep your 14 plus 7 plus 10 plus 4. See how they have taken the longest path. 14 plus 7 plus 4 plus 10 is 35 days. And your longest is 14 plus 10 plus 10. 34 days. So critical path being the longest path. Are you clear? See your next example, then it will be more clear. Okay, see here. In the graph, jobs are shown as arrows, no? Leading from one circle in the graph to the other. So, arrow connecting the two circles represents a job. Okay? Circle 1 and 2 represent job A. Correct? Forecasting of unit sale will take 14 jobs. If you directly count, it has come to 45 days. But do you really require 45 days? Answer is no. Why? That's what we are coming to. So you're saying 1 to 2 takes 14 days, but 2 to 4 takes 10 days. Okay. Are you getting it till here? And then you're saying 2 to 3 will take you 7 days. Alright. And then 4 to 5, which is your days costing the production. Both have to get over, no? For me to, the production has to get over, no, for costing. So, D will happen and then 10 days will happen. So, here if you say, for sales, what do you have to do? Pricing of sales takes 10 days. That includes your 7 days. Correct? So, 14 plus 10 plus 10. That will give you a final figure. One final figure is 34 days. What is your longest part? 14 plus 7, which is your C, plus D, which will take your pricing, and then 10 days again. Now you got it. So critical path is the longest path. It is not separately counted because that is costing the production. Okay? Why this is less than your 45 days? Because you are doing your B and C together. You understand? That is why it is getting shorter than your 45 days. Now what you do is work out this based on the next example that is given. Your graph 2 is given, no? Based on the example, you work that out and you tell me whether you followed. Next time you can tell me. Okay, I will continue. Advantages of PERT. You read this. 1, 2 and 3. Done? Any doubt? Further advantages are there. Just read it. Quite easy, the concept, no? three-way estimate in time because you're doing, first is the longest, no? We said no, 45 days. That is the total time. For each task we took it account and totaled it up. Then we said number of days required based on whatever can be done. Simultaneously we said what is the least time and what is the maximum time. Got it? That is why it's called three-way. Alright. What are the limitations of this method? Basically, how can you estimate? It's based on assumptions, isn't it? And cost may be higher than conventional methods of planning. And then the degree of skill that is required, minute to minute details you should be clear on. It's not suitable for relatively simple and repetitive process. Okay. So you're clear till here, right? All right. So limitations are fine, and then we have it is not suitable for relatively simple and repetitive process such as assembly line work. Assembly line means in a factory what happens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to just do one after the other. There is no choice, right? So fixed sequence jobs when you have, there is no use. We can only work on it where you can have something being done simultaneously. Comparison chart, they have given you the terms, the points of difference and then actual comparison between the two. You go through that and you let me know if you have any difficulty on that. We'll go on to portfolio analysis. What is the meaning orientation point? Okay, you've already gone through. See, what is PERT? Again, it's a project management technique, isn't it? That is, you manage so many activities of a project. It's just managing an event. While your CPM is not about managing the event. It is the same event you are going to manage in a much more better way. In a well-defined activities of project. It's a statistical technique of project management and manages well-defined activities, isn't it? So activity-oriented is CPM, event-oriented is project management. That PERT. Are you clear? So what is portfolio analysis? Majority of business organization have portfolio means what? Portfolio means a group of products which they offer to their customers. Crashing concept. Let me go through what you're asking. What is crashing concept? Where have I written crashing concept? It's not in the slide, okay? Oh, in the comparison chart, where is it? I'm just saying. Let me go through what is there in your book. event oriented, activity oriented, evolved as a research and development, evolved as construction, probabilistic, deterministic, high precision time, reasonable time estimate. Okay, research and development project, non-research projects. There's no crashing over here. It must be in the old book. The last point here, it is suitable for research and development project. The other one, it is for non-research projects. You go with the new book. Have you downloaded the new book, Sindhu? Okay. It's not there in the new one. Okay. So you need not break your head with that. Alright. So here what we are saying is a portfolio of products means some group of products which normally our businesses offer. They just don't offer one product, no? Rather than individual products of brands. So in many cases they are brand products which go with each other in some way, isn't it? So analysis of a portfolio means what? You have to find out the strengths and weaknesses of the company in such a portfolio and determine how good they are with respect to their customers, isn't it? Are with respect to their competitors and whether you are able to meet the customer expectations. The tool to identify strengths and weaknesses of a company is product portfolio analysis. This was first started by Peter Drucker in 1973 as a way to classify current and expected profitability. Today's profitability and tomorrow what is expected. Now, Drucker classified the offerings of a particular company into 7 categories. Read that. It's very interesting. Is it clear? I think it's very obvious, isn't it? Yeah. That's all they have told you with portfolio analysis. We'll go on to BCG matrix. Around 8 o'clock, I will stop dealing with this. I'll just go to your 11th, 12th and 13th chapter, what are the changes, and then I'll come back to this, okay? BCG matrix is in any company, it should have a portfolio of products with different growth rates. Growth rate as in when does it peak, when does it go well. Some different products should have different growth times. Otherwise, you will have a time when everything is doing well or everything is doing badly. Again, different market shares. So, portfolio composition, it should be a function of balance between different cash flows, because you should not have only seasonal products. And what do you do at the other times? You understand? So margins and cash generated are a function of market share. Now the question is, it was developed by Boston Consulting Group, that is why it's called BCG, used for evaluation of the organization's product portfolio. Alright. It's mainly used for multi-category, multi-product companies. Multi-category also. So in soaps itself, you can have a premium segment and you can have a regular segment, isn't it? So it is multi-category, and you can have soaps and you can have some other product. You can have lotions, you can have face wash, right? Those are multi-product. All categories and products together are said to be part of a business portfolio. So each such product has to be evaluated from 2 dimensions. One is market growth and second is market share. Now see, it becomes very interesting from here on. Cash cows. Cash cows means what? There is a star, there is a, uh, one second, one second. Then you have a star, then you have a question mark, and you have a dog. Okay, 4 varieties. What's a cash cow? The products which have a high market share in a low growing market. Market is not growing very fast, but they already have a high market share in that particular market. So strategies for cash cow is to retain that market share. The highest returns you get, highest profitability you get. Okay. Then comes stars. What is the stars? Best products and services in the product portfolio of any company. So all types of marketing, sales promotion, advertising should be made to focus on that a lot more so that your stars remain a star. Got it? Got it till here? Then comes question mark. Question mark, what happens? Market share of such a product is unknown. So what do? They are just entering the market with a high growth rate. The growth rate needs to be capitalized so that the question mark becomes a high market share. And dogs is low market share, low growth rate. What is the strategy? Depending on the amount of cash that you have already put in, you have to determine whether you want to throw away that product or you want to revamp that product. Revamp that product as in make it a different look, a different feel, maybe just add a few things to it through rebranding, innovation, adding features. Got it? So that is another thing that you can look at. Alright. So sequences in a BCG matrix, there are success sequence and there is a disaster sequence. So what is a success sequence? Success sequence of a BCG matrix happens when a question mark becomes a star. Finally, that becomes a cash cow. It has to be, no? That is the order in which it should move. Alternate is that means it is the right thing that you have done till now. Now comes your disaster sequence. Disaster sequence, what happens is, in the product which is a star, instead of moving towards becoming a cash cow, it has become a question mark and then becomes a dog. Finally, it will have to be removed. You understand? Very easy. Now comes steps in a BCG matrix. What are the steps? First, you have to choose. The BCG matrix is a framework whereby you can understand what is going on and what brands the company has to invest in and ones which should be removed because ultimately you are looking at profits, isn't it? So what are the steps involved? Choose the unit. First you decide which unit you are looking at, what brands you are looking at, what products you are looking at, and it is essential to define the unit for which you are going to do the analysis. First step. Second step is what? Define the market. Defining the market means what? What is the market you are looking at? So they have given a very nice example. If you would do the analysis for Daimler, Mercedes-Benz car brand in the passenger vehicle market, it would end up as a dog because it's less than 20% relative market share. But it would be a cash cow in the luxury car market. So which market are you targeting? So if you look at a soap like Dove, so is it a luxury product or is it a ordinary soap product which is for the general public? You tell me. You heard of Dove, no? It is an ordinary product, but you make a comparison between the prices it is costly, right? So it is more premium. I'm not saying it is the most luxurious product. So if you look at some soaps and things which come from abroad, it will be a lot more costly. So it might be just below the most premium. Got it? So you have to define which market you're looking at. Then you have to calculate the relative market share in that market. And then what you will do? Find out the market growth rate. So relative market share, how do you define? Your firm's market share divided by the largest competitor's market share or overall market share. Find out the market growth rate. Industry growth rate can be found in industry reports, no? So market growth rate is measured in percentage terms. Okay? Then draw the circles on a matrix. After calculating everything, find out where your brand lies. And strategies will be based on the BCG matrix. So there are 4 strategies possible. These strategies are build, hold, harvest, divest. What is build? Build means by increasing investment, the product is likely to become even better. You can increase your market share. Pushing a question mark. Example they have given is pushing a question mark into a star, find their cash flow. Make it a success sequence. What is hold? The company cannot invest further. It will hold on to the product wherever it may be. It may be a star right now or it may be a question mark right now. Wherever it is, just hold it there. Wherever it is, yeah. Third is harvest. Basically it's a cash cow scenario where the company reduces the amount of investment and takes out maximum out of it, maximum benefit out of it. And divest is it's a dog scenario where you remove it wherever you feel it is not worthwhile, right?